Good afternoon and welcome to beautiful, spectacular Pickett, Wisconsin on this May 6th, 7th, 8th. Honestly, I don't know what the date is. It doesn't really matter that much to me. All I know is this is a spectacular day in Pickett, Wisconsin, in general. Probably the nicest day of the year so far. It's 68 degrees, very light winds. In fact, the feels like temperature is above the temperature today. It actually feels like 70, it says. And believe it or not, I think I've really lost some of my Florida mojo because it feels hot. And I used to be used to 90-degree temperatures all the time. But anyway, so the wonderful weather today, wonderful day for some engine runs. Today's engine is the third and final of Chris's engines that he loaned to me, Chris from Perky Plains RC. This is his K&B 45 Sportster engine. Now, if I recall correctly, this will be the very first time I've ever run a 45 Sportster. I've had a 20 and a 65, but I don't think I've ever run a 45 Sportster, so this is kind of cool. They are plain bearing engines. The carb is unique on these Sportsters in that it does not have a low speed adjustment at all. I believe it's just some kind of a groove that's cut in the barrel, I think. I have to read the article again. I haven't done that in a while. But it does have a throttle stop screw. So Chris had sent this to me and it came with the stock K&B 45 Sportster muffler, which is a super quiet muffler. However, one of the nuts inside the muffler wasn't there, so it wasn't holding it. So I had to put an FP, an OS40 FP exhaust on here, and I ordered some screws that I thought were going to be longer, but they turned out not to be longer because this head is rather large. So this exhaust is held on by like maybe 5 threads. Pretty tight. Hopefully it'll stay on there. But so the parameters for today's run is I've got an APC 10.6 prop here. I may run an 11.5 also because that's another prop I have on hand. I've got 5% nitro fuel, which is just something I created from my FAI blend. I just mix, 1/3 15% Omega to 2/3 my FAI fuel, and I get 5%. So this is 5% fuel. The plug that came in this engine, Chris, was not correct for this. It was an OS A3 plug, so I've taken that out and I put in a more period correct plug in it anyway, which is a K&B idle bar plug. Now if this plug glows great, looks good. If this plug doesn't work so well, then I will put a Fox standard short in it and try it. So those are the parameters for today's run. Now let's just do it. Okay, so let's prime this thing. I've got the high-speed needle open about 2 full turns from closed. I have no idea how much runtime this engine has, and I don't think Chris does either. That's interesting. Seems like I've been saying that a lot lately. Last few engine runs. Oh, that's interesting. Don't know why that would do that. Don't know why it would do that. Got the throttle stop screw set. Maybe it just really doesn't like that plug already. I don't know. We're going to give it another shot here and see. Otherwise, I'll just swap to another plug real quick. It's getting pretty warm. Alright, I think we're just going to pause it here and I'm going to swap plugs real quick. Okay, Fox standard short this time. Seems like that's been kind of like a miracle plug for engines lately. I threw one of those in and everything clears up, so let's see if that happens again here. Okay, I pulled the throttle stop too far down that time. Yeah, it looks like, by the way, I really kind of like this stand now. It really looks like that plug really remedied the engine, the issue there. Wow, that is a cool engine. I like this engine a lot. This is really nice. Isn't it amazing the difference a glow plug can make? Because here I'm thinking that idle bar plug would have been fine, but this engine just hated that plug. And yet, once again, Fox RC standard short plug comes to the rescue. This is at least the second or third engine that plug has just transformed the engine's behavior. So it's interesting because there's so many things I could say. This engine's nice. This is a really nice engine, Chris. I kind of wish I had pulled the trigger on that K&B Sportster 45 that I saw on eBay today, because that was a nice engine. This is a nice engine. Now, I had some leakage here, but I think it's just because I could have pushed this fuel tubing on here a little bit tighter. But I mean, once that plug was in there, you saw the transition and the idle was just phenomenal. And this is 5% nitro fuel. So I had somebody ask me, and a lot of people ask me, why do you run 5% fuel instead of 10 or 15? Well, you don't need that. You just don't need high nitro fuel. First of all, fuel is harder to come by now, and the choices at my local hobby store are slim. So what they sell at my local hobby store is Cool Power 10%, which is all synthetic, or they sell Omega 15%. That's why I've been buying Omega 15% and cutting it with my FAI 80-20 fuel to make 5, or I could make 10, or I could make 12. I can make whatever percentage I want. But I like to run a lower content just because you don't need high nitro to run an engine well. Sure, the tuning window, so think of nitromethane as training wheels for your bicycle. If you run high nitro fuel, your tuning range is like this. It's very wide open. But it's harder on your engine. Much harder on your engine. It's hotter, runs hotter, everything. So it's just harder on your engine. As you reduce nitromethane, your window of tuning shrinks a little bit. And then of course you get to FAI, and then your tuning is really small. It gets pretty tight. But running lower nitro is better for your engine. It makes you a better engine tuner. I mean, there's just all kinds of benefits to it, so that's why I like 5%. So anyway, wonderful engine, wonderful day, wonderful run. Thank you very much, Chris, for allowing me to run your engines, because now I'm all on board with a K&B 45 Sportster.